This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we're underway. Okay, we will call the Village of Ashwaubenon Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee meeting to order for Monday, June 8th, 2020. Roll call, please.
Randy Johnson.
Present.
Here. Dale Schmidt is excused. Leroy Vogt is excused. Mike Malcheski.
Here.
Kyle Jago.
Here.
Jessica Atkinson.
Here.
And then Annette Obinger, we are awaiting.
Okay. Customary to recite the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag Action on the agenda. Do we have any changes, additions, deletions? There's Rex. The agenda is good. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
This is Randy. I'll second it.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Action on the minutes from the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee regular meeting, May 11th, 2020 at 3:30 p.m.
I'll make a motion. We approve as presented. This is Randy.
This is Jessica.
Motion
I'll
to
second
approve.
that.
Motion and a second by Jessica to approve the regular meeting, May 11th, 3:30 p.m. meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Comments from the public. We have no public available today. Action item 7, site plan review. Kyle.
There's been a couple of things. It's been a while since we met. The most recent one is there is a manufacturing building being constructed at 3411 Packerland Drive. My comment was to encourage employees to bike to work. We would like secure bike parking according to the guidelines of the Association of Pedestrian and Bicycle Professionals. Alternatively, a secure area inside the building would serve the same purpose. If that were the case, lockers and other storage for helmets, backpacks, and outerwear would be helpful. That was at the most recent meeting, which was, I think, this month. There was something earlier in January. There was buildings on Element Way, and my recommendations were pretty much the same, that there should be bike parking, and the bike parking facility should be near the entrances of the building in sufficient numbers to accommodate both residents and guests. In May, there was no site plan meeting, and I think in April there was one, but I didn't respond to that. My wife was in the hospital, and I just sort of lost track of that. So I guess that's where we are to date.
Okay. Number 8, action items, discussion and possible action on Wisconsin Act 34.
Did that basically say, Mike, that bikes and electric bikes are the same?
It's the way I interpret it, yeah.
It didn't, except for the classifications of electric bikes, 1, 2, and 3. The rest seem to be, they're treated just like a non-electric bicycle.
I guess that was my reading of it as well. They just seem to change the definitions to add electric bicycle to the definitions of a bicycle.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I got confused up above when they had them mixed in with pianos and jewelry. I didn't figure out what they were doing there. In section 2. So we would allow an electric bike then based on this, if our local, and Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll let a bike ride on the sidewalk. But they're supposed to announce themselves. They're supposed to get off the bike when they approach a pedestrian, I believe, is kind of what, I'm not saying they do that, but I think that's what they're supposed to do. So an electric bike going 20 miles an hour, we have to look at any of our own village ordinances to do anything any different, or will we allow a 20-mile-an-hour electric bike on the sidewalk?
I'm guessing you're not gonna. But
Sounds
trying
fun.
I'll bring up your ordinance here in a little bit. I got the Zoom meeting this morning, but no attachment, so I didn't see the act. So.
That was the only thing I was just thinking about, the only thing different. And maybe, Kyle, you do ride a bike at 20 on a, you know, people, not you, but people do ride a bike 20 miles an hour on a sidewalk. Maybe there's no difference.
If someone is capable of riding a bicycle 20 miles an hour, they're probably a good enough rider. They're not going to want to ride on the sidewalk. They're going to be confident enough. They're going to be riding on the street. You know, there may be some exceptions to that, but a rider that's a good enough rider capable of riding that fast on a bicycle that goes that fast, it's unlikely they're going to be on a sidewalk. Now, they may be on a bike path, but not on a sidewalk.
Which is fine. Okay.
No, your ordinance prohibits it on the sidewalk. No motor bicycle, no motorcycle, no moped, no electric personal assisted mobility device, no all-terrain or utility vehicle, snowmobile, go-kart, play vehicle, so forth, on any part of the sidewalk, walking or recreational trail in the village.
But according to Act 34, a motor bicycle is different than an electric bicycle, and they spell that out in the Act.
I'll have to look at the Act.
So a lot of what the Act did was just inserted the term electric bicycle. It gave definitions for the different classes and inserted the term electric bicycle wherever a bicycle was.
Is that something that then would the village want to add that to the ordinance? I mean, you have like electric personal assisted mobility device. Would you want to add an electric bicycle to that ordinance to prohibit that being on the sidewalk?
To me, that would seem to make sense.
I'm leaning that way too. Again, I don't know if the average is going to be going up to that 20 miles an hour, but to me, with people walking, 20 is awfully fast.
So let me throw a wrinkle in there. Electric bicycle can either be pedaled or ridden, correct? So to me, you'd want to discern, like if someone's pedaling an electric bicycle where the electric motor isn't engaged, you know, because maybe they're riding up to their house, or they're like, you know, a couple houses away and they're up on the sidewalk. You know, I think you need. I mean, I don't want to split hairs, but they could be riding the bike.
That's valid, because you can always take an electric bicycle and just use it, like, as you're saying, Rex, like a regular bicycle.
So, you know, you might want to say an electric bicycle which motor is engaged or not, you know what I mean? I don't know if you want to split hairs like that, but I just want to throw that out there.
Well, but there are also already restrictions for other types of other types of vehicles. So to me, I don't want to see an electric bike, or maybe we say no class 2 electric bikes, which are capable of motor with no pedaling. But then you're getting into fine definitions and how do you enforce that, and why are some electric bikes okay and others are not?
Kevin, what does the code say about basically electric wheelchairs? Is that what's meant by the personal mobility device?
Yeah, I would believe so. I don't know if that might be more the little scooters than an actual electric wheelchair.
I think those are, because I don't think we can prohibit the electric wheelchairs just based on the acts that I deal with at work.
I would think, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to refer this to the village legal counsel to have him take a look, see whether or not we need to amend our code?
A recommendation, though. Do we want to amend it?
I'm going to give a recommendation. I can go either way. I'm actually, you got me thinking, Rex, about again, until we know how people use them. Do they usually have the assistants engaged, or do they usually just use it on occasion? I would think they'd have the electric part on most of the time if they had one.
I have yet to see one in the village actually being used.
I haven't either.
I did see a couple of them just recently, and I'm thinking it was in the village. I don't get out very much, but and they had to be class 2 bikes because the people were not pedaling and they were just zipping right along. And they were riding on a roadway, they weren't on a sidewalk.
Yeah. Some of those small scooters, it's hard to differentiate between the two. Some of those you see going down the road, and I don't think they're doing much over 20.
Two-wheeled scooters?
Yeah. Some of those
By
things.
definition, those two-wheel license scooters can only, I think they can only do 25 miles an hour.
Is that it? Okay, so that's what you see them going, yeah.
Yeah.
I see a class 3 electric bicycle can go 28.
I read that, yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty fast for a bike. So the request is to give it over to legal? Take a look at?
What do we want legal to look at? Do you want to allow them or not allow them?
Yeah.
And then I think we need to make a recommendation to legal, and then legal will take a look at that recommendation.
Well, yeah. Well, do we make it that, well, let me think.
Well, as I'm thinking about it, it seems to me that Act 34 treats them just like any other bicycle. So maybe that's the way we have to treat them. We have to, treat them just like any other bicycle. And I'm not in favor of bicycles on the sidewalk, but if we allow them, we allow them.
I think we allowed them though, Kyle, before they were electric. Because aren't we, Kevin? Statewide, there's a lot of places that don't allow bicycles on sidewalks, right? Isn't it kind of
There are
unique?
some places, yeah, but it's just the only thing I'm seeing is the motor bicycle that's not allowed right now in our ordinance.
Right. But I thought we were kind of lenient on sidewalks in relationship to the rest of the state. So when they wrote this, did they write it with the rest of the state in mind, thinking bikes aren't on sidewalks anyway? So they maybe didn't even consider.
They're probably writing it in relationship to 346 in the regulations and how they're treated under 346 as far as rules of the road. Because just like a bicycle, you have to stop at a stop sign for a bicycle when you're on the roadway. So, you know, some of the laws do apply for bicycles.
Based on the way it's written now, Kevin, do you see any issues with the way this is written versus our village ordinances, that if you had a problem, you guys would have an issue with enforcing it the way it's written? Or do you think that you have enough with our stuff that you don't see a future issue?
Well, it would only be in relationship to on the roadway. If it's off the roadway and it's not in the ordinance, then there's nothing we can do about it. What I'm saying is if they're on the sidewalk, state law doesn't say you can't ride on the sidewalk. It's the village ordinance that would have to say that you can't ride on the sidewalk. So if you do want it in there, that's where it would have to go. That would be the thing to maybe find out, is it an issue? If it's not an issue right now, if it becomes an issue, then maybe you want to have it added to the ordinance. But it usually becomes an issue when there's an accident or something happens.
Well, there's a sidewalk in front of my house, so I see a lot of people riding in the sidewalk, and generally it's kids or, you know, moms and families or adults on cruisers. They aren't the people that are riding real fast. You know, they're
correct. In a lot of cases, it's your kids riding to school or back and forth to the park or something like that. But again, you could also look at, if you watch people bike on the roadway, they're not necessarily obeying all the traffic rules either.
Oh, absolutely. I saw someone on the wrong side of the street just an hour ago.
So,
and riding along at 6 miles an hour, you know, and they're just an older person, cautious, and think they're being safe by riding against traffic.
mm-hmm.
So I think that the people who are riding electric bikes, you know, aren't the people who are just crawling along or just little kids.
I'm guessing they would rather be on the road, because I would think the road would be a little bit, you know, I mean, you still have your cracks in the roadway and such, but, you know, with driveways and sidewalks, usually there's probably some more bumps and cracks in the road versus the roadway itself.
Well, if you're going fast, sidewalks are not very safe, because every driveway is a point of conflict, you know, and if you're driving fast, cars won't see you when they're backing out. You know, if you're just going along a few miles an hour and a car is backing out, they're apt to see you. But if you're going much faster, unless that car looks down the block, they're probably not going to see you.
And that may be a reason why you would want it in the ordinance to keep them off the sidewalk, specifically for people backing out of driveways.
I think, given the conversation we had, I don't like bicycles on sidewalks, period, because I live in the corner. I stop at the corner of Hilltop and Cormier, and they go kind of fast across Hilltop without stopping. If you have an electric bike, they'll even go faster. I don't think electric bikes belong on sidewalks, period, much less bicycles, but that's just me.
You know, at that intersection that you referenced, in that people are coming down the hill, so they're going pretty fast.
Down the hill and fast. Yeah. Sorry for cutting you off, Kyle. Oops.
No, that's right. That's fine.
And it could, if you refer it to legal, it's something that Tony could ask other municipalities if they're amending their ordinances to add them to restrict the use of the electric motor on sidewalks if it's going to be used. And he can maybe come back. He can come back with some type of finding as to whether that is a thing or something that is a concern or people are doing or aren't doing.
I'll make a motion when you're looking at removing them from sidewalks, and we ask legal to please investigate the feasibility of that and the kind of do a research, as you said, Kevin, some research on what the other neighboring communities are doing. It's nice to keep in sync if we can. So.
Yeah, and
that'd be-
like I said, if Green Bay is going to do it and so forth, you know, if everybody in the county is going to do it, then everybody's on the same page.
Right.
I just have another question because I had an article that came up on my iPhone, and it said electric bikes are being vandalized by, and Ubers own them, and they're getting upset. Do we have electric bikes that are rentals in the area, or are they owned personally, which I think makes a difference either, you know, also.
I think a lot of them have been pulled from the market. I don't think there's anybody operating electric bikes anymore.
Yeah, this was in Forbes, and they said they're not happy because it's being vandalized and it's not working well. So I don't see. I don't even know what one looked like, and I don't think I've ever seen one on a sidewalk or street. But I like the idea of having them be on streets only.
We have
Okay.
a motion by Randy.
Yes, I'm going to move that. How can I word this? That we would like to, I don't know, an ordinance for electric bikes to be driven on streets only pending legal looking at it. I don't know how to word it, but you know what I'm saying. I just want, you know, I make a motion that they only ride on streets only, not sidewalks.
With having legal review the
That's it. Review. Very
area
good.
requirements.
Yes.
Randy, you're okay with your motion dying for lack of a second?
Oh, you had a motion? I'm sorry, Randy. I didn't know you had a motion. I'm okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion. We need a second.
I seconded the Nets.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to refer to legal the requirement to keep electric bicycles off sidewalks and to review regional requirements that may require the same and report back to us. Need to repeat that, Sue, or Ken? Yeah, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, motion carries. Okay, we'll get that resolved at some point, huh? Review and possible action on the 2018 plan projects. Has there been any projects added since our last meeting, but we added some in?
We just updated. All the changes in red were updated.
Were updated, okay. But is there anything else since then?
You mean like brand new stuff that just came out?
You heard anything, Rex?
They're looking at applying for a grant, and we would need to speed up the sidewalk on Pilgrim or Vanderparen between Broadway and Ashland. I don't know if that's on here or not. To get closer to the, just so that from the entertainment and shopping district, there would be a sidewalk that can get you to the Ashwaubenon River Trail. What is that? That's Pilgrim, right? That goes up to Western Racket?
Yeah, yeah.
But we needed to put a piece in going across the street, so on the north side of between Ashland and Broadway, and I don't know if that's in here or not. It should be. Could someone make a motion to include that if it's not in here already?
I'll make a motion, Rex, to, on the north side of the Pilgrim, between Ashland and Broadway.
Correct. That would then connect to the shopping and entertainment district, or it would be a way for people to get to the Ashwaubenon River Trail, or it would also be a way for the people that, you know, with the new Alden Station, you know, the new Mansell Flats apartments, it'd be another way for them to walk or bike into the entertainment and shopping district.
And we got two hotels, right?
Correct.
A Loft and what's the other one?
Marriott. Yep.
Marriott. There's a lot of activity there.
Yep, and then there's a new office building going up next to, multi-story office building going up next to Mansell Flats as well. And then with the increased housing that will eventually be at Alden Station, that's quite a few more units. There's going to be more people looking to walk and bike in that area back and forth. So we want to have the ability to do that. So Randy made that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to add Pilgrim Way, Ashland to Broadway connection for the Ashwaubenon River Trail in the entertainment district. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do we need to assign a number to that right now, or Sue, can you do that?
We'll take a look at it and just bring it back as an informational item at the next meeting.
Number 10, department reports, Park and Recs.
Nothing new since the last meeting on the Park and Rec side. We'll probably not hear back from the West Main Avenue Trail grant applications until the end of summer, August or September. So other than that, nothing new.
We were at Sand Acres Park last night. There's a picnic table underneath where the tall child seat double swing used to be, and the double swing is not there anymore.
There was a older child that thought it would be fun to try and sit into a toddler seat, and they got stuck and had to be cut out.
I wondered if that's something that hadn't happened. Okay.
Because their leg circulation was starting to go. So public safety had to be called, but before they showed up, a resident came over with a bolt cutters and basically cut the child out of the seat.
Okay. So that'll be replaced at some point, maybe?
It's already ordered.
Okay. I don't think our DOT rep is called in today. Public safety, Kevin.
I'm not aware of anything to pass along.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Kevin. It's a Hilltop Drive question again. I live just a little bit below the hill, and twice, maybe 3 times, I saw, and this is not a bike, it's not a wagon, it's a skateboarder, and they were skateboarding in the middle of the street going down the hill. That's illegal, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
technically yes, it is.
It is. Can I get in my car and at the end of the street tell them it's illegal, and then I'm going to report them if they do it anymore? It was kids.
I would recommend against doing that.
You do or don't?
I would recommend not doing that.
What do I do? Nothing, and just let them kill themselves going down the street skateboarding? They haven't, but they could. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. It
Well,
goes
I think skateboarding is inherently dangerous.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
whether it's wherever they're going.
But it goes right into Morris, and if a car doesn't see them in turns, it's gonna be bad. But okay, I won't say anything.
Well,
You're
I'm
not
just-
help.
I'm just telling you, you shouldn't follow them and inject yourself into something that may become confrontational. That's
Yeah,
all I'm recommending.
And it's not gonna pay to call the police because it's night, and I think, doesn't it go through the county? By the time the county gets to the village and the village gets there, they'll be gone. Am I right about that?
There's a potential, yeah. It's going to take a few minutes for it to actually get to us, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what time of day, whether it's daytime or nighttime. It's going to take a few minutes till it actually gets dispatched out. But
Oh.
if you have a time of day that it happens, and you want us to look for it, if it happens every Monday night at 9 o'clock, we can be in the area at some point.
Okay, I'll just
And-
mark it down. My dog barks. My dog barks. I know when they do it because he sees it out the window and he barks, but it's usually between 7 and 8 at night. So thanks,
Yeah.
Kevin. I can do that. Okay.
Kevin, if I could just interject one thing. I'm on Shady Lane a lot, and with the Sherwood Forest Parkway, there's a lot of people there biking and walking.
Yes,
And I'm
there-
pleased to see that they're enforcing the speed limit on that roadway. That's a pretty heavy traffic, and often there are cars parked on the road with people using the Sherwood Forest Parkway. So it's a little bit of congestion, and people can come down that hill pretty fast. So I'm glad to see there's enforcement there.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. If somebody sits there, it doesn't take long to find somebody to talk to.
No doubt.
Great. Natalie's not here. Number 11, discussion and possible action on electric bikes and scooters. Have we had enough discussion? We've had enough on that. Okay. Public comments, there's no public. Next bike and ped meeting is scheduled for Monday, July 13th, 2020. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move. And that,
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Randy? We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.
Bye,
All
everyone.
right, thank you.
Bye.